Hi everyone, I'm Mike Morgan, one of the safety monitors in the wood shop. I want to review for you now the safety procedures that we ask you to follow when you're operating one of our two jointers. Their purpose is to provide a smooth, flat, straight surface on one edge at a time of your board. The tool produces a flat surface by passing the wood over this rotating cylinder which has many cutter heads screwed onto it. So the cylinder rotates in this direction, moving the cutter heads toward the wood, which is fed in the opposite direction. Again, illustrating our general principle that you feed the wood counter to the motion of the cutting tips or cutting edge. In this case, you can see that the actual cutting surfaces are a large number of square tips that are screwed to the cylinder, and this has the advantage of making a nice smooth cut because it's spiral in nature. The wood slices off very smoothly, and as these tips wear, we can rotate them and get 4 more iterations out of every tip. The idea again is if I want to make this surface smooth and straight, I will pass it on the table over the cutting edge steadily in this direction. In order to do this, the two tables are adjusted at slightly different heights. So the infeed table on the right is slightly below the outfeed table, so that as the wood passes over the cutter head, we are going to remove a small amount. We're going to remove about 1/16 of an inch of wood from this piece. And the two tables are machined to be perfectly flat and parallel, so that property is what gives us the straight, smooth, flat cut on the edge. I have removed the guard only for the purpose of showing you the blades, so now we have to replace the guard. And in this case, I will adjust it so that the exposure of the blade is only just a little more than the width of the piece. So the wood can pass through, but only a little bit of the blade is outside of the guard. The procedure is to hold the piece against the fence and the top of the infeed table while you steadily but gradually feed it across the cutting surface and then on to the outfeed table. Your hands should never be over the cutting blades. So as you feed, you keep both hands on the right, and as enough of the work passes over here, then you would, from this position, switch to this and continue. And at that position, switch like this and continue. Now we're ready to energize the tool. I can see the plug, so I knew it was not energized. And we should have the dust control on. Open the gate, which allows the dust control system to operate for this tool. Some people like to use push pads to lead the wood through, and that's a good practice for relatively small pieces or when you get close to the blade. So we'll turn the machine on. So I've removed about 1/16 of an inch, and if I sight down this edge now, it looks very straight, and I can confirm that by setting it against the table, which has been machined to be flat. I've got a nice flat surface. Why would I need to do this? Well, let's say I'm building a butcher block. I want to edge glue a series of pieces one to the other. This joint will be very nice if each of those surfaces has been run through the jointer to be made perfectly flat and straight and parallel. Makes a nice surface for edge gluing. It's also useful to prepare a piece for planing on one of the other tools in the shop. So often we'll, as a preliminary to using the planer, we'll run our piece through the jointer to give us one flat surface. Now you probably heard me say early on that we're removing 1/16 of an inch. What if you want to take off more than that? What if you want to remove more material than 1/16? Please do not adjust the height, the relative height of the two tables. Rather, the simpler technique is to make multiple passes. So if I want to take off 1/8 of an inch, I'll make 2 passes. 2/16 of an inch will do the job. The barn has two jointers, one 8-inch and one 16-inch wide, so a variety of different sizes and shapes of wood can be operated on it. The principles are the same. The guard looks different on this smaller one, but it works in just the same way. In fact, I like this guard a little better because as you pass the wood through, once you get to the other side, the guard snaps back in place, protecting you. So I like that feature, but it is available only on the 8-inch jointer. A couple other features that have little to do with safety, but you may want to take advantage of them. The fence can be switched to different angles, so you can run beveled edges through. And also the fence can be moved back and forth. On the larger jointer, the guard is a little mysterious, and so you need to be aware of the fact that if you release this clip, the guard can be lifted entirely away to clean the blades or to inspect them. But in order to operate the machine, you must put the guard back in place, lock it in place with that lever. You can move the cover back and forth. If you're jointing a large piece, you don't want that much clearance to get the piece through, so this will move all the way back and forth. And also, you can raise and lower the guard with this thumb screw right here. So if I'm jointing a wide but thin piece, I can pass it underneath the guard and be completely protected, but still have adequate clearance to pass the piece through. Like that. If you slide the fence back and forth, you must first move the guard and then bring the fence in and adjust your guard accordingly.